Join us as we explore the invisible energy system running just beneath your skin.
Mapping the vital streams that bridge our physical bodies with the deeper planes of life.
I'm Elliot.
And I'm Nadia.
Welcome to the Etheric Double by Arthur E. Powell.
So this is new. If you're hearing this, you found us right at the beginning of something, which is honestly my favorite place to find anything. Episode 1 of a brand new show.
Episode 1 of a whole new book, which is exciting and a little daunting, because the book we picked is a dense one.
It really is. So before we crack it open, we should probably say who we are and what this actually is. I'm Nadia.
And I'm Elliot. And the short version is, we're two friends who've been reading books like this together for years. The kind of books you read with a pencil in your hand.
And what we do here is read one of them with you, all the way through. It's not a summary, and it's definitely not an audiobook. It's more like, you know when a friend has already read the thing you've been meaning to get to, and you sit down with the coffee, and they walk you through it, and somehow it all just makes sense? That's what we're going for.
That's the aim anyway. And the book this whole series is about is called The Etheric Double, The Health Aura of Man by Arthur E. Powell, first published 1925.
And the first thing worth knowing about Powell is that he didn't invent any of this. He'd be the first one to tell you that. He called himself a compiler.
Yeah, and I kind of love him for it. What he did was go through about 40 works of theosophical writing, most of it from Annie Besant and C.W. Leadbeater, and pull all of it together into one orderly map of the etheric body. Everything the tradition had said about this subject, gathered up, sorted, arranged so it actually fits together. So when you read Powell, you're not reading one man's ideas, you're reading a whole tradition condensed into one book.
Which is exactly why it matters to a lot of you listening. This is one of the core texts on the subtle bodies. And if you're in the pranic healing world or you're walking the arhatic yoga path, you might already know this book is on your list because Grandmaster Chua Kok Sui recommended it as foundational reading.
So for a lot of people, this isn't a curiosity, it's groundwork. It's the book underneath the books.
And maybe it's been sitting on your shelf for years, half read with the bookmark still in chapter 3. No judgment, mine look like that too. So here's the promise. By the end of this series, we'll have walked through the whole thing together. Every chapter, nothing skipped. You finish the series, you've read the book. Or you've read it more deeply if you already had.
And we should say, this show is part of a family. We make it at Pillar 5 Media, where different pairs of hosts are working through the great spiritual books, one show per book. You'll find the whole catalog at pillar5media.com. And that's pillar, then the number 5 as a numeral, media.com.
Okay, so the etheric double.
The Etheric Double.
Can I open with the thing that got me when I first sat with this?
Please.
Right now, about 1/4 of an inch past your skin, all the way around you, there is a second body. A complete duplicate of you, particle for particle. And it's not just sitting there, it's working. It's doing something for you every single second. And it's a big part of why you're alive and warm and one whole piece instead of a pile of parts. And most of us have never once been told it's there.
And that's the whole book, really, in one breath. So today we're doing the first 2 chapters, which are the foundation everything else stands on. Chapter 1 is what this double actually is, and what it isn't. And chapter 2 is what feeds it, the life that runs through it. If you get these 2, everything else in the series sits on top of them really neatly.
All right, so start me at the beginning. Because the book opens by saying we have several bodies, plural. And I want to make sure nobody's lost in the first minute.
Right, yeah. So the starting picture, the standard theosophical picture, is that a human being works through several bodies at once, one for each plane of nature. There's the physical, there's an astral body, a mental body, and it keeps going up from there. Each one is a vehicle, that's the word the book uses, a thing consciousness rides in.
And this series is about the bottom one.
The very bottom one, the densest one, and easily the most overlooked one. Everybody wants to talk about the astral body, the glamorous stuff. And meanwhile, there's this workhorse right here keeping the lights on, and almost nobody gives it a chapter, let alone a book.
The unglamorous one that does all the work. Okay, so when the book says a second body, what is it made of? Because my head goes straight to something ghostly, like mist or spirit stuff.
And that's the first correction Powell makes, and it might be the most important idea in the whole chapter. Okay, so you know the states of matter from school: solid, liquid, gas, ice, water, steam.
Yeah.
The occult picture says those three are just the bottom rungs of a taller ladder. Physical matter comes in 7 grades. Below, you've got solid, liquid, gas, the 3 we all know. And then above the gaseous, or finer than it, I should say, there are 4 more, the etheric grades. They're called etheric, superetheric, subatomic, and atomic, each one finer than the one before.
Finer meaning what though? Smaller bits?
Subtler, more rarefied. Think about the jump from ice to steam. Same water, but one you can stand on and one you can wave your hand through. Now keep making that jump past steam, 4 more times. That's the idea. And here's the bit I really need to say clearly. Those 4 grades are still physical matter. It's not spirit, it's not another dimension, it's physical, the same way ice and steam are both water. Just physical matter too fine for the eye to catch.
Huh. Okay, that actually changes the whole flavor of it for me. So the etheric double isn't a ghost that lives in me. It's more like a mist-fine layer of me.
It is you, that's the thing. The book says your physical body has 2 divisions. There's the dense body, which is everything made of solids, liquids, and gases, the part your mirror shows you. And there's the etheric double, which is everything made of those 4 finer grades. 1 body, 2 densities.
And the double is a duplicate, like an exact one?
Exact. Every solid, liquid, and gaseous particle of your body is wrapped in its own little envelope of etheric matter. So the double copies you particle for particle, the whole form, and it extends about 1/4 of an inch beyond the skin. To someone who can see it, it looks pale violet gray, faintly luminous, and it's coarse or fine in texture, depending on whether the dense body is coarse or fine.
Wait, 1/4 of an inch. Is that the same thing as the aura then? Because people talk about auras reaching way out past the body.
Different thing, good catch. The double itself hugs you, 1/4 of an inch, follows your shape exactly. But around that, there's an etheric aura, the health aura, and that one reaches several inches out beyond the skin. It's actually in the book's subtitle, The Health Aura of Man. We'll do it properly next episode. It earns the time.
Okay, noted. Now the other bit you slipped in there, the coarse or fine thing. Say that again.
The 2 vary together. The quality of your dense body and the quality of your etheric double rise and fall as one. So a person who deliberately purifies the dense body, what they eat, how they live, is automatically refining the etheric counterpart at the same time.
See, I love that because it means none of this is out of reach. You don't need to see the etheric to work on the etheric. You take care of the body you can touch, and the body you can't touch comes along with it. That feels kind, actually. Like the system was built to be workable from where we're standing.
Yeah, it's a very practical piece of hope to hand somebody in chapter 1.
Okay, so we've got this fine duplicate wrapped around every particle of us. What does it do all day?
So 2 main jobs and then a few side jobs that are basically trailers for the rest of the series. Job 1, and this is the central one, it takes in vitality, prana, this life force that comes from the sun, which is the whole of chapter 2, so park that for a minute. The double absorbs it and distributes it to the entire body. That's why the double is so tied up with physical health. Everything about how alive you feel is running through it.
Job 1. Keep me alive. Decent job. Though before the second one, can I check something? Because when people hear second body, I think they picture a vehicle, something you could float off in at night.
Yeah, and Powell heads that one off early. The double isn't a separate vehicle of consciousness. It has no mentality of its own, just a kind of diffused awareness in its parts. You can't live in it, you can't go traveling in it. And in a healthy person, it barely separates from the body at all. And it shouldn't, because pulling it away disturbs the whole flow of life. It's not another you, it's plumbing. Beautiful plumbing.
Infrastructure. Okay, So what's job 2?
Job 2, it's a bridge. It sits between the dense body and the higher bodies, and it carries traffic in both directions. Your physical senses touch the world, and the double passes those impressions up through the etheric brain to the astral body and beyond. And whatever's happening in consciousness up there gets carried back down into the physical brain and the nerves. It's the connector, the in-between.
Okay, wait. That actually explains something the book says later, right? About dreams? Because you told me this bit and it stuck with me.
Yeah, it comes up when Powell gets to the force centers. There are these centers set into the double, the chakras, and we're going to spend 2 whole episodes on them, so I won't run ahead. But the relevant bit is, whatever you experience at night, out in the astral, has to cross that etheric bridge to reach the waking brain.
And in most of us, the bridge isn't built. That's the part that stuck with me. The etheric centers aren't developed enough to carry it across. So people can be having these rich, vivid nights every single night and wake up with nothing. Not because nothing happened, because it got lost at the doorway on the way back in. It's like writing letters all night that never get delivered.
That's exactly it.
And the book gives the double a few more jobs, right? Which are basically trailers for the rest of the series. It holds those force centers, the chakras, the wheels. It's involved before you're even born in shaping the kind of physical body an incoming soul receives, which is a chapter I already know is going to undo me a little. And at the end, it dies and decays along with the body. It doesn't travel on. It's the one body that stays behind.
Which is the death chapter, and we will absolutely get there. But there's one clarification first, because Powell is really firm about it. And if you ever read the older literature, it will trip you up. The etheric double is not the astral body.
Right, because you'd think they were the same thing if you'd only heard the names.
You would, and for a while the names were actually the problem. In the early theosophical books, the etheric double got called the astral body, the astral man, the linga sharira, all those names.
And then in all the later writing, those exact names got reserved for a completely different vehicle. The real astral body, the emotional one, the one made of astral matter. So if you're reading the older books, the secret doctrine era stuff, you've got to keep checking which body the page is actually talking about. Same label, 2 different things depending on when it was written.
Exactly. And for us, for this whole series, the line is clean. The etheric double is physical, finest physical, but physical. It's part of this body. It stays with this body. The astral body is a different vehicle on a different plane, and it gets its own book, actually, which is a thing we might come back to at the end of the series.
And the double has collected some other names too along the way, hasn't it? This is the part I enjoyed.
Go on, you do the names.
Okay, so the proper Hindu name for it is Pranamaya Kosha, which just means the vehicle of prana, which is such an honest name, it's the job description. The Germans called it the doppelganger, the double walker. And then after death, when it's separated from the dense body and it's drifting, it gets the older, spookier names. The wraith, the phantom, the apparition. Powell even gives it, and I love this phrase, the churchyard ghost.
Which is a real seed he's planting, by the way, because when we get to the death chapter, the book has this whole tender, surprisingly peaceful account of what that lingering figure actually is and why people see them. The ghost stories have a mechanism behind them. But that's episode 6 territory.
See, that's what I mean about this book. It keeps taking things people have whispered about for centuries and just explaining them. Plainly. Like a manual. Can I add one more of those actually from this chapter? The phantom limb thing.
Oh yeah, go.
So people who've lost a limb sometimes still feel it, feel pain in fingers that aren't there. And the usual story is that's just the brain misfiring. But Powell says the dense part of the limb is gone, but the etheric part was never removed. It's still there, in place, visible to clairvoyant sight. So when something stirs it, the feeling is real. It's coming from a part of you that's still present.
And notice what that implies mechanically. The feeling isn't in the flesh. The flesh is a receiver. The life, the sensation, is running in the finer body, which is exactly where chapter 2 picks up. Because the obvious next question is, fine, there's a fine body. What's running through it? What actually is the life in it?
Right. So, prana. And I'll say, this word is not exotic to me. This is a word I grew up around. Prana, the breath, the life in things. My grandmother would have found it very funny that we needed an English occultist to arrange it into diagrams.
With a ruler, no less. So here's how Powell opens it, and it's big. There are at least 3 separate forces streaming out of the sun and reaching us. 3. And there's a drawing of this. It's literally the first diagram in the book. Diagram 1, if you've got the book. It's worth a look. It's very simple and kind of charming. A circle at the top marked sun, and 3 arrows coming down out of it into 3 boxes.
Like a child would draw the sun paying its bills.
Basically that. And the 3 boxes are the 3 forces. Box 1, Fohat, or electricity. And that covers practically every physical force science knows. Electricity, magnetism, light, heat, sound, motion, chemical affinity. And all of those convert into one another. That's the mark of the family. You can turn motion into heat, heat into light. It's all Fohat wearing different coats.
Okay, so box 1 is basically all of physics.
All of physics in one box. Box 2, Prana, or vitality, a distinct force, and here's the thing, not recognized by orthodox Western science. Not then, anyway. Powell says a few scientists probably suspect it. And box 3, Kundalini, the serpent fire, known, he says, to very few, completely off science's map.
And then there's that third one, which we're leaving in its box for now.
Firmly in its box. It gets its own episode later in the series, and it deserves the care because the book treats it with real caution. What matters today is one rule about the 3 of them. They are separate. Fohat, Prana, Kundalini. 3 distinct forces, and none of them can be converted into either of the others. You can't turn electricity into life. You can't turn life into heat. They come down from the sun side by side, and they stay themselves.
Under the drawing, there's that little caption too, isn't there? Each of these manifests on all planes of the solar system, which is casually enormous. 3 rivers running through everything, everywhere, on every level.
And our river, this episode and really most of this book, is the second one, Prana.
So let's do the word first, because the word is beautiful. It's Sanskrit. Pra, meaning forth, and an, to breathe. So prana is literally to breathe forth, life breath, life energy. And in Hindu thought, it goes all the way up because there's only one life. So prana is that one life appearing on every plane, the life breath in every single creature. There's a line quoted from the Upanishads, Indra saying, I am prana. Prana is life. It's not a small word.
No, and then Powell does the thing this book does, which I appreciate. He brings the enormous word down to a working definition you can actually use. So on the physical level, here's what prana is. It's the integrating energy. It's the thing that coordinates the molecules and cells of your body and holds them together as one definite organism.
Okay, but slow down there because I think this is the sentence of the whole episode.
It might be. Look, here's the picture that made it click for me. Think of everything your body is made of as parts, trillions of cells, each one technically alive on its own, doing its own little business. Without prana, that's all you'd be, a collection of independent cells, a heap of parts that happen to be stacked in the shape of a person, nothing making them a single thing. You see the problem, right?
Parts in a box.
Parts in a box. And prana is what links every one of those parts into one complex whole. The machine, switched on and running as one. It's the difference between a pile of components and a body. And Powell's really clear that without it, there could be no body as an integral whole at all. Not a sick body, no body.
Here's what gets me about that. We say things like, I have no energy today, and we mean it as a figure of speech. And the book is saying, no, that's not a metaphor. There is literally a life current in you, and the amount of it and how well it's flowing, that's the difference between a good day and a flattened one. The tired you feel at 3 in the afternoon is a real substance running low.
And it runs along something, which is maybe the loveliest image in the chapter, the life web. So prana plays along this web that threads through the entire body. Powell describes it as a shimmering golden web of inconceivable fineness and delicate beauty, spun from a single thread of Buddhic matter, a prolongation of what's called the sutratma, the thread self. And the coarser atoms of the body are built together inside its meshes.
So there's a golden net running through all of me, and I'm assembled inside it. Like the net came first and the body grew on it.
That's the picture, a single golden thread woven into a net and the whole body strung within it, with the life current playing along every strand. It's a filter and a scaffold at once. Actually, no, it's more like the wiring and the frame at the same time, if the wiring were one continuous thread.
That's lovely. And it's everywhere, right? Not just in us.
Everywhere, all living organisms absorb prana. Animals, plants, all of it. A steady supply seems to be a necessity of existence, full stop. And Powell makes this point that I keep chewing on. Prana is not a product of life. It's not something bodies make. It's the other way around. The living animal, the living plant, they are its products. Life doesn't come out of the body comes out of life.
That's the sentence you sit with on a walk, honestly. Because it turns the whole thing inside out. You're not a machine that generates a bit of warmth. You're something life is being poured into, continuously, from the sun. Which does something to how you feel about just standing outside on a bright morning. And here's the bit that surprised me. It's not a case of more is better. The book says too much prana in the nervous system can lead to disease and death. Same as too little leads to exhaustion and eventually death too. Both ends are dangerous. It wants balance. Not a fire hose, a steady pour.
A steady pour, yeah, the right current for the wiring, not the biggest possible current. And there's one more piece of chapter 2 I want to put in your pocket before we close, because it's the setup for next episode. The prana coming off the sun doesn't just soak into you like heat. It arrives packaged. It enters these ultimate physical atoms floating in the atmosphere, and it charges them, makes them glow. And a charged atom like that suddenly gets this 6-fold power of attraction. It pulls 6 other atoms around itself and arranges them into a little form. And that little 7-atom form is called a vitality globule.
The globules. Okay, and this is the part everyone listening can actually do something with, because you can see them. Powell says these things are so brilliant and so active that almost anyone can see them if they care to look. Bright sunny day, you face away from the sun, and you let your eyes focus a few feet in front of you, against a clear stretch of sky. And they're just there. Tiny darting points of light, everywhere, in immense numbers. Almost colorless, like little sparks of white light.
Most people have seen them their whole lives and assumed it was nothing, or something in the eye itself.
Right, and I did this properly this week. Sat out on the balcony in the late morning and just looked. And you do see them. This sparkling, dancing field of little lights. And knowing what the book says they are, I'm sitting there thinking, that's the sky full of packed lunches. That's vitality, portioned out and waiting to be taken in.
And the weather matters, which I find weirdly moving. Brilliant sunshine, and the globules are being generated in incredible numbers. The air is rich with them. Cloudy day, far fewer. And at night, production stops altogether. So through the night, you're living on the stock manufactured the day before. And the supply runs lowest in the small hours, just before sunrise, which Powell notes is one reason so many deaths happen in exactly those hours. The whole world is running on the last of yesterday's light.
That gave me a chill when I read it, but a soft one. It's why those hours feel the way they do, maybe. That thin, held breath feeling at 4 in the morning. The tide is all the way out. And sleep belongs in here too, doesn't it? This was the bit I loved. While you're awake, the body's kept tense, ready to act. When you sleep, everything lets go, and the system gives itself over to taking vitality in. That's why sleep restores you in a way food doesn't. even a nap. Even the nap is drinking something.
Even a 10-minute one, yeah. The body knows how to top itself back up. You just have to stop moving long enough to let it.
Okay, so let me try to gather this up because we've actually laid the whole foundation now. There are two bodies in this one body. The dense one I can see, and a fine one I can't. A 1/4 inch of shimmer copying me particle for particle. It's not a spirit, it's matter. It's not the astral body, it's its own thing. And its whole purpose is to be the bridge. Life comes in from the sun, gets taken up and passed through it into every cell, and the traffic of consciousness crosses it going both ways.
And the life it carries, prana, is the thing making you one creature instead of a heap of cells, which means health, in this book's picture, is largely going to be about how well that current is being taken in and moved around. That's where the whole rest of the series is heading.
And that's actually the perfect door to next episode, because there's a piece of today's story we deliberately left out. How does the vitality get in? Like, the globules are out there, sparkling away. What actually takes them up?
Right, and the answer is the machinery, the force centers, the chakras, these spinning wheels of light set into the surface of the double, and one of them in particular, the one near the spleen, whose whole job is to swallow those globules of sunlight and break them apart and split them like a prism splits white light into colored streams that go feeding out to every part of you.
And that episode is also where the health aura comes in properly, which we only waved at today. Why some people seem to shed wellness on everyone around them, and why an hour with certain others leaves you completely flat. The book has an actual mechanism for that feeling. If any of this is your world, the healing work, the energy work, next episode is where the book starts handing you tools.
Wheels of light. It's a good one.
So that's chapter 1 and chapter 2. The body you can't see and the river that feeds it. Thank you for starting this book with us, honestly. Whether it's been on your shelf for 20 years or you'd never heard of it before today, we're glad you're walking it with us from page 1.
Sit outside in the sun this week. Look for the little lights. We'll be here when you get back.
Take care of both your bodies. We'll catch you in the next one.